It's Aleya Antoine. You're listening to Tease podcast.
Everyone loves the tease. Stop.
But don't get too excited.
Is this even a month? I feel like January is a free trial. January is a free trial to the new year. It's time to try things, fail things, unsubscribe, resubscribe, cut this person off. Maybe I kind of like you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tease podcast. It is so good to see you bitches again, and I want to start off with apologizing because I know we didn't have an episode last week for our check-in, but I promise this week we'll make it up to you guys. My intention is to have this be a mini episode, but y'all know how I like to ramble, so we'll see what happens. But I unfortunately came into a New Year's funk. Like, I was so optimistic about the new year, and I think, like, no one talks about how that first week of January is just so fucking hard, and, like, it's kind of like you feel this pressure to, like, completely start over, and, like, you did all these things, and it's, like, I feel like when you have really high hopes, really high optimisms, when, like, the slightest thing goes wrong, you're like, oh, are you kidding me? I'm literally trying to be a new person. Why is the world fucking with me? So that was kind of the energy that I had, and I just felt like so like debilitated and overwhelmed. This week has been a week to where my productivity level, I just feel like is lower than usual. Like, I don't know. I just feel down and out. I don't know what it is. And so when I was trying to make the episode for last week, one, I did not realize how time consuming and mentally consuming the Vegas auditions were. So I like legitimately didn't really have the time. But I also just like didn't realize like how long it goes on for. So I finally did some of the pool auditions. This is pretty much like an all month thing, like between the initial audition, callbacks and interviews after that. Like, I don't think I'll actually really know where I stand until the end of the month, or at least like right up to it. And obviously I just moved to Vegas, so pretty much all of my knowledge about like any of this has been from YouTube, from TikTok. Like, when I say that I've been binging all of those contents for like months and months and months now, I have been working out consistently. I've been eating healthy. I went on a juice cleanse, which, by the way, I highly recommend them. I know that they're kind of controversial, but I loved my juice cleanse. Like, okay, here's the tea with the juice cleanse. You could do 3, 5, or 7 days. I think those are like the average amount that people do. Obviously, you can do more or less. I was going to do 3 days. Kai flaked on me because they wanted to eat really good Mexican food, and I don't blame them because I wish I had a street taco. And so I had 5 days pretty much. And I was like, well, should I do the full 5 days? Should I just do 3 days? I don't know. So I settled on 4. Like, I did more than I initially thought without like stressing myself out. And I will say the hardest part for me was not being hungry or really missing a meal. It was the snacking aspect, like the chewing. So I did only drink juices, but I did have like a boiled egg and some almonds throughout the juice cleanse, just to like chew and everything. And I don't know, like for some reason, like it's like placebo effect. I didn't feel full unless I like physically like was munching on something, you know? So I just kept it like really light, some almonds, some boiled eggs, but it was really good. Like, I've always had like abs and stuff like that, you know, but I felt like my stomach still poked out. Like, despite having abs, there was still like a pooch, you know, like a little pooch. And when I say that juice cleanse took that shit away, I lost like 7 to 8 pounds. Like, I was like, my normal weight would be fluctuating between 115 to like 120. Like, I'm always just somewhere between that, like a 117, a 118. I have been off the juice cleanse for like 2 weeks now, and I've been getting a consistent 113 on the scale, which is crazy. I will say that I feel like I lost some ass fat, which is definitely a really, really sad sign. So that is more reason to weight lift and everything. But I feel like it was a really good reset. Like, you know what it felt like? It felt like when you're like, I don't know what to do with my body. Like, I'm having such a hard time. It felt like starting from a blank slate. Like, it felt like, okay, bitch, let's start over. Let's go back to our roots and now let's rebuild. So I think it really is a literal great reset, you know? And I really liked it and the flavors were really good. So I honestly think I'm going to do one at least once a year. And I have another, like, just a 1 day cleanse in my freezer from that last day. So I'm just saving that for when I go on like a bender and I'm like, oh my God, I've only had alcohol and cheeseburgers. I need to reset. So 10 out of 10, I would definitely recommend, but I definitely like encourage you to like eat some almonds, maybe a boiled egg, maybe some raw fruits or veggies in the middle because just strictly drinking juices, I don't have enough discipline for that. Like, I don't have enough discipline to not chew anything. So I think like giving yourself some leeway, like you'll still see results, you know? And I was still in the gym during it. But anyways, I prepped, did all that for Vegas auditions. Kai actually dyed my full hair red because my roots were showing. And here's one thing. It's amazing when you date long term with someone and you know who they are, right? And you're like, I know what I'm getting out of this. You know what's even more amazing? When they surprise you with the most amazing luxuries that you did not expect. Like, guys, I got my hair done at my own apartment for fucking free. Obviously, I tipped like by Kai. It was so fun. And like, I was so stressed out moving because one thing that I have to think about when I moved to a new city, it's not who my doctor is going to be. It's not who my dentist is going to be. It's not what my job is going to be. My main concern is who the fuck is going to do my hair. So leaving Washington, I was like, oh my God, I miss Jess. And Jess was my hairstylist. I was like, I miss her. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I have like super curly, long, thick hair. Like, a lot of people, they see my hair and they're just like, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't want to do it. Or they're like, I'm going to charge you a full fucking ban. And so I couldn't find anyone. Everyone was booked. And I know that Kai was in cosmetology school. And I don't know. I just have like, I have this weird thing to where I think that Kai is like a superhero or something. Like, I'm like, no, you can do anything. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like the parents that like blindly just think that their kids are the best and they're like, no, they could do it. That's how I feel about Kai. Like, I literally look at Kai and I'm like, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Like, I don't know. I just like feel like Kai could do anything. So I was like, you could do my hair. And Kai's like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'll text Jess. I'll ask her for the formula. You could do it. Kai's like, okay. And it turned out so good. It took us fucking forever though. We dyed it from like 9 p.m. to like 3 a.m. And then the next day we did a blowout that took like 6 hours. So there was a lot of time in the chair. And then I had to get a new bikini, get new shoes because you have to wear wedges. I bought this tracksuit. This tracksuit is actually, it's from Juicy. It's what I arrived in. And it was only because I was like, I want to feel and look my best. Like, I don't know. I feel like I keep coming across TikToks that are like, don't dress for who you are, dress for who you want to be. So I was like, okay, well, I need a good cover up. And basically the way that they do these auditions is like, there's like 7 to 8 clubs. Like, there's a good amount of clubs on the strip. And like, they'll each have like a day with a couple hours and you walk in. And when I say that it is baddie central, like, I have never seen so many beautiful girls in my entire life. And you could tell that like the casino guests and the people at the hotels, because you have to like walk through the casino to get to wherever the audition is, all the guys are kind of like jaw drop because there's like hundreds to thousands, I'm not kidding guys, thousands of just beautiful girls walking through. Like, I want you to imagine that you're just standing on the street and you see like a parade and you have no idea where they're going. Like, literally I would like see like 7, 10 and I was just like jaw drop because I was like, this is inspiring. Like, these girls are literally flawless. Like, I knew that everyone was going to be gorgeous, but like to the extent, I mean, I was shook. And so you go in, you have to like sign this card, say what you're interested in. You go to the bathrooms, you change into your bikini, and then you have to take a photo. And then you do a really quick interview where they ask you literally 1 to 3 questions. And it's usually, who are you, experience, fun facts. Like, it's very, very minimal. And like, I would say that I really like rely on my personality sometimes. I feel like a male-centered thing, like I rely on charm, you know what I mean? But it's really hard to push out charm and your personality and just to like be who you want to be when you only have like 1 to 2 minutes, you're nervous as fuck, and everyone around you is so gorgeous that you feel intimidated and you want to tuck into your turtle shell. So I knew what I was getting into, but I just like, it's one thing to hear it or see it on TV. It's another thing to like go in. And so I know that for two of the clubs, I did not get it, but I am optimistic about the other one. So I really want to give it my all. But I feel like the whole like process has just like really drained me because like, I don't know, like I am normally someone who's like very confident, you know? And I still think that I am, but it's one thing to be insecure and be like, okay, I know this isn't going to work out for me, or like, it's one thing to already just be putting yourself down. It's another thing to be confident and then someone's like, no. Like, that's when you're like, "Ugh." So I feel like it's just like really been like kind of tested me because like, yeah, I did Hooters and Twins, but it wasn't like that. Like, that's just a one-on-one thing. You know what I mean? Like, you interview, yeah, they look at you, yeah, you audition in the outfit, but it's not like with thousands of other people trying to get 1 to maybe 20 slots at each one, you know? I want to remain optimistic, but I think that it just kind of like took me back to a place of like, I know that there's not a lot of spots, and I know that there's even less spots for obviously people like me, you know what I mean? And I feel like I kind of like had to fight this like really like old, outdated childhood thought that I used to have of like, my appearance is gonna be what like holds me back. It just kind of took me back to where as a kid to where I just like felt like I like stood out and I could never tell if that was gonna help me or hurt me. You know what I mean? And so it's just been something that's been like driving me crazy. I think another thing that's driving me crazy about it is that I am a control freak. If anyone here is listening and you're a type A person, which I think that a lot of people are, a typical type A person, you like to be in control, you like to know what's going on in your life, you like to be in the driver's seat, you like to make decisions, you like to lead, you know what I mean? As one of those people, I am having a really hard time with this because after you do it, guys, you don't know what's going to happen. You have to wait for a callback or an email, which could take anywhere from 24 hours to a couple weeks to get to you. So I literally feel like a fucking sitting duck. And I don't know how people put themselves out there in situations where they like have to wait to find out on things. Like, I feel like I have no idea what's going on with my life right now. And I feel like that is making me spiral. Like, I have listened to like 9 meditations a day. Like, I, guys, I know it's important to go out of your comfort zone, and I know that we all have to do it, but like, do y'all ever go out of your comfort zone and you're like, fuck, like, why did I do that? Like, is it normal to like not know what's going on in your life in the next couple weeks to months or a year? Like, is it normal to think of that and then be like, okay, I mean, that's comfortable. That's how like, I don't know. I'm not one of those people. I like to know every single thing. And like, I know that there's like that saying, like, you make a plan and the universe laughs at you, but like, I don't find it funny. I don't find it funny. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's happening. And like, either way, no matter what happens, like, I'm going to try again next year because it's like an annual thing, you know, like it happens every year. But it's just like, oh, I don't know. It's really unnerving not to know. And then another part of me is like, I feel like I should shut the fuck up about talking about it because I mean, like, I don't want to like not get it. And then I have to like say that I didn't get it. And then like, yeah, I know it's okay to try things and like get back up and do it again. But like, as a control freak, as a type A person, like I have been really, really struggling with this. And that's the update on how it's going. I'll let y'all know how it goes, guys. I just knew that I couldn't get on the microphone and talk because I didn't have a single thought in my brain. The only thought in my brain was, I'm going to pass out. Like, I don't know. I just felt like dizzy in the head. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like when you're just so out of it or you're so uncomfortable or you're just not in body at the moment. You're just like, I wish I could hibernate and then come out and you tell me that everything's good. Like, I wish I could hibernate till February and then you let me know what's happening with my life. You tell me. But you know what? One thing that I am proud of is that I know that a lot of times we get like really sad about things or in our emotions about things, which is kind of like where I have been at. Like, literally not knowing things makes me feel like I'm like fucking depressed. Like, I'm like, what's going on? I just want to cry. And recently I was in the gym, I was listening to one of the like 8th meditations of the day, and all of a sudden I just got pissed off. And I was like, I need to know. But you know what? Fuck it. I don't even care. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? And you want to know what's so weird? I felt so much comfort in being pissed or being angry or getting mad. And way more comfortable than I felt in sadness. Like, it actually felt motivating for me. And so it made me think, like, okay, we all have our own individual personalities, right? And we all have an emotion that physically makes us want to vomit and puke and get into an anxiety ridden hole, crawl on the couch, turn on the lights, and binge a show for days on end. Like, we all have a certain emotion that just triggers us. For me, it's being sad. Like, I hate being sad. I don't like it. It's so uncomfortable for me. Out of control, sadness, like that just is not where I find solace. You know what I mean? And so I was like, you know how easy it would be to just like reframe whatever emotion is making you uncomfortable to emotion that you feel is adjacent to it, but also more comfortable. Like, whenever people tell you, don't be sad, just be happy, that's bullshit advice, because to go from one end of the spectrum to another is like really hard. You know what I mean? But what if, let's say, vice versa, you're really mad, you're pissed off, but that is what makes you like feel debilitated? You don't need to go straight to happy, because that's not all the way realistic. What if you switched it to I'm feeling sad, because maybe you feel more comfortable in sadness? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of my water sign friends that I know, or like family, like they're the people who, if they're sad, I don't know how, they can still like keep it pushing. They can still go out through life. They become really hopeful. They become driven because they're sad. You know what I mean? Me, as like an Aries, I feel very comfortable in anger. I feel very comfortable being mad. Like, to me, it's like me being mad is like the equivalent of like I'm fired up. Like, it feels like when you're doing a workout and you're maxing out. That's how I feel when I'm mad. Or it feels like, you want to know what it feels like when you're straightening your hair and you're on like the second hour and there's like that one piece, or when you're curling your hair and that one section just keeps falling back to straight when you brush it out. Ugh. Or when you get a pimple and then you pop it and you actually made it worse. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to get all this skincare. Like, I don't know, me, whenever I'm like mad or upset about something or pissed off, I feel like I do my best work. I definitely came up with this podcast when I was upset about something. And it started off as sadness, and then all of a sudden I reframed it. And so I think that it's all about paying attention to your body, because like it's like the cycle of grief is the way that your emotions go. Something happens, you're immediately sent into a negative emotion. And usually the first initial one is that most uncomfortable emotion, whatever one just really makes you upset. So maybe someone who's different than me, if they're going to the same situation, they would have gone first to mad. And I've seen some people ranting on TikTok. They definitely went first to mad about all of this, you know? But I think that the next emotion that you go to is the one that is adjacent, but still more comfortable. And that's where you start making steps to change, to reframe, to get over the hurdle. Like, those are those emotions that push you on the ass and say, get it going, bitch, get it popping, move on. You know what I mean? And so I think that it's really important when you first reach that initial emotion that makes you really upset, makes you really uncomfortable, immediately kind of just think, wait, what can I do with this? I have all these feelings. What should I put them into? You know what I mean? And I feel like that's how you get more things done. Like, for me, when I'm sad, I scroll on Instagram for hours, hyperfixated on anything. Like, that's not productive. Me, when I'm mad, I go to the gym. I go run errands. I work on the podcast. I work on my socials. I do this. I clean the house. Like, when I'm upset, I do like, it's when I'm my most productive, honestly. Sometimes when I'm happy, I'm just like in la la land and I'm like, okay, I'll do something. I'll do something. And so that is some advice that I wanted to give y'all, because I was like, you know what? Our uncomfortable emotions are definitely also a spectrum. And I don't think that you need to always be happy. I don't think that you need to always be happy. I mean, content would be nice. I think that content is something that everyone will like to see way more consistently. But if you're uncomfortable, I think find the most comfortable, uncomfortable emotion. Guys, let me know how that works for you. Also, I'm kind of interested to know like what emotions y'all are comfortable with. Like, for all my mad girlies, like, are we similar? For the people who are more comfortable being sad, are y'all similar? Like, I want to know. Maybe some more people are more comfortable being nervous or actually having anxiety. That's not me. That's not me. That's not me. But if you could do it, more power to you. And then also at the end of the day, like, it is only a week, 2 weeks into January. Who the fuck has ever liked January? Like, I want y'all to think about your years. And when you think of a year, do you even think about January? Because, like, when I think about 2024, I'm thinking in terms of like March through December. You know what I mean? Like, maybe February. I don't really remember February or January. Like, I've never been in January and been like, this is a vibe. Love this shit. Like, who the fuck fucks with January? It's such a month of like, you have such high expectations for yourself and you're so optimistic, but you also live in the real world. And like, it's just, you're in like a boxing match with like your dreams and then your tribulations and what. Like, I don't think it's anything new or anything bad or anything to get stuck on to feel uncomfortable and unsettled in the month of January. Because, like, is this even a month? I feel like January is a free trial. January is a free trial to the new year. It's time to try things, fail things, unsubscribe, resubscribe, cut this person off. Maybe I kind of like you. Like, January is the trial month. And yeah, so I don't think that we really need to stress out too much about what goes on in January. Me saying that after ranting for how many minutes about how I'm pissed off about January. But I know last week we did our vision boards, and I am so overwhelmed and happy that so many of y'all liked the episode, that so many of y'all have made your vision boards. That makes me so happy for you guys. But as promised, we are going to be doing this week our ins and outs for 2025. I put down some that y'all wrote in too, and let's do a little swervy swerve and get into it. I don't think that I need to describe what ins and outs are, right? It's basically what's in, what's out, get with the program, let's get it. Obviously, I wrote them down on my notes app, but I think that we got some good ones this year, and let's get into it. So some ins and outs for 2025, I put what is in, being mad, out, being sad. That's me personally. You can flip-flop it. In is overconfidence and out is desperation. I love that. I think that being desperate is what makes you actually make a lot of mistakes, and it's what makes you hyper fixate on things. And it's just kind of like a debilitating emotion. I do think that being overconfident is in for this year, because here's the thing. There's going to be so many things that are going to test and knock down your confidence in life. So to just have a normal amount honestly isn't enough. Like, you know how they say there's a fine line between confident and cocky? I want you to push that fucking line. I don't want you to be cocky, but I want you to literally be 10 toes down in the confident side. Like, I want you to be so close to that cocky line that when life throws a big old brick at you that rocks your confidence, you still have a good amount left to keep it going. Because trust me, there's levels to it. Okay, in, I put yoga. Oh, wait, this is kind of controversial. Out, I put Pilates. I love Pilates, and I will probably do Pilates because I definitely have a reformer at my gym, but I just feel like Pilates is not realistic for everyone to do all the time. Like, I know that everyone, like, we love Pilates on Instagram and everything, but I think that I would say out of like all the workouts that you can do, I would definitely name it as one of the least accessible ones to do it correctly. Like, yeah, you can get some of the tools to do it at home, but without like a reformer or some type of gym membership, it's really hard to like actually do Pilates consistently. Yoga, you can go on YouTube literally 24/7 and find amazing, amazing lectures. Half the time, the only props that you need are the mat and the blocks. Like, I feel like yoga is a lot more accessible to the average person than Pilates is. Hot take. Honestly, yoga is probably more accessible than even the gym is. You know what I mean? Like, in Washington, the only way that I worked out was going on base. But if I didn't have that, I would have had a really hard time finding one. I mean, here, I'm really blessed because I have the yoga, I have the Pilates, and I have the gym. So as someone who has all three, I'm not biased. I'm just honest. Okay, I put out, being subtle. In is statement pieces. I want to describe this. Statement pieces would be making something that is recognizable, like kind of like your "this is you" quality. You know what I mean? Like when someone's like, who's Stacy? Oh, the girl with that wears that earring, the girl that does this, you know what I mean? Like, I think that having something as a statement about you helps you to not just blend in. And a lot of times it can help you reach your goals more. Like, I literally saw a TikTok and she was like, the biggest celebrities all have like either a certain type of hair or a certain type of makeup or a certain type of style that they do. It's because that's your recognizable piece. You know what I mean? Like, we're not all computers. We all don't remember names, but we definitely remember statements about people. So what's out is being subtle. Like, you know, the whole clean girl aesthetic, I like it to an extent until it gets to the point to where you're like every other bitch, you know? Okay. I put out, sloppy drunk, and wine drunk. Yeah, sloppy drunk is out. I'm so over it. I cringe at every memory that I have, and I like being a fun drunk. But being sloppy and like falling over and stuff, it's just not funny anymore. It's actually really embarrassing. And wine drunk is in because wine drunk is so much fun. Wine drunk is a type of drunk that makes you feel like life is unicorn and rainbows. And I'm not encouraging alcoholism. I'm just encouraging loving our reds, our whites, and our rosés. Okay. I put in is going out of your comfort zone for the plot. Out is doing dumb shit for the plot. That is so good. Okay. I used to have this thing where in 2024, I was like, do shit for the plot. And I did the dumbest things that actually, I mean, it made a really good plot, but the plot was really taking a toll on me. So I think doing dumb shit for the plot is not as smart anymore because you can get yourself in some really fucked up situations or get yourself in some really like big regrets. But I think going out of your comfort zone for a plot, you'll never regret. You'll never regret trying. You'll never regret shooting your shot. You'll never regret getting back up and failing. You know what I mean? So I think that doing that kind of stuff for the plot is actually what ends up probably even working better and making you seem less like an insane, unstable person. Okay. I put in is beauty sleep. Out is bed after 3 a.m. Unless you're out at the club, I don't see any reason to go to bed after 3 a.m. Like, what's the point? You're going to wake up at 2 p.m. and miss half your day. You're going to get bags under your eyes. Like, there's no point. The only time I will condone going to bed after 3 a.m. is when you're partying the night before. Then that's fine. Then that's like not your fault. You're just a girl. But if you're just going to bed at 4 a.m. for absolutely no reason, you can't tell me any way. You can't tell me any way that that is beneficial. Okay. I put in is healthy snacks and out is dumb snacks. I read that the key to being healthy is actually in your snacks and your drinks, not in your meals. Now, I'm not saying I'm a health guru. I hardly think I am, but I have tried this. So I've like done less like chips or like we used to always have like Doritos or like really sweet like sugary snacks, you know what I mean? And like replacing that like with at Trader Joe's they have like the fried banana chips or the snap peas or stuff like that can actually really improve your health. A lot of times our excess fat, our excess sugar levels and stuff are from our snacks and sugary drinks. So like getting a milkshake and stuff like that is actually half the time more harmful than getting dessert because liquids go straight to your bloodstream and it's like ingested a lot faster and a lot more throughout your body rather than just like getting a dessert, you know? I honestly have noticed like a big improvement just from cutting out those two things. I don't even think that you need to change your diet or any of your meals if you just change the way you snack. Plus, half the time that I snack, I'm not even that hungry. I'm just bored. You know what I mean? So what's the point? What is out is negativity. But I haven't retired from being a negative Nancy, but I do know that when I am like that, it's not the motto. And then in is trying and moving on. When I say that I am desperately, and I mean desperately trying to implement this in my life, I'm hanging on by a thread, but I'm trying. Wait, I'm trying and moving on to try and move on instead of harping on negativity. Okay, I put out is obsessing and in is doing what works for you. Okay, yeah, obsessing over things is definitely out. I obsess over a lot of things in my life, and I can't tell you one time that's like really benefited me. Like even half the time when I put a little bit less effort, I end up doing a better job because I'm not like overdoing it. And just like doing what works for you is it, you know? These are a couple other outs I put. Procrastinating simple things. That's like, what's the point of procrastinating like really small things? If it's like something really big, I understand procrastinating because you're like, what? But if you're like, oh my God, I need to put up my laundry, like just do it. That way it's out of your way and you can pick out an outfit better. I say that with laundry on my floor. Guys, don't do as I do as I say. Wait, do as I say and don't as I do. I put out as trying to fit trends. That kind of goes with the doing what works for you. I think that honestly, we've come to a point to where trend culture is so high, being trendy is like the best thing. But I mean, I'm gonna say it to you straight, not every trend works for everyone. There's a lot of trends that don't work for people. Speaking of trends, I know that Aritzia is on the trend, and I was desperately trying to find a business casual dress for callbacks. And when I tell you, I couldn't even fit an extra small. Like, literally everything was like so big on me because it's made for like, I guess, I don't know what silhouette they style after. My guess is like Zara, like really tall people is like the average. I don't know. Whatever it wasn't for me because I absolutely drowned in everything that I wore. And this is a great example of instead of trying to like get something that only half looks good on me, I just moved on. And I think that we need to realize that just because something's trending doesn't mean that everyone should do it. It's just doing what works for you. And there are some trends that work really well for certain people and some that don't work for others. It's all about finding what fits you. But I think that just blindly following trends like is stupid. You know what I mean? Like one thing that I'm glad that I never hopped on was like the obsessing over skincare trend because I mean, guys, I'm just going to say it. I don't understand why people obsess over what skincare product is going to help them do this, what serum's going to help them do this. Go to the fucking dermatologist. Like, what? Why would I be spending my days trying on Tatcha this, 20 different acne things when I could just go to a dermatologist, get it prescribed, and pay like so cheap for my stuff. Like, I honestly, that's one thing I've never gotten. Like, even my mom, she used to be like, try this proactive thing, try this thing, it will get rid of your acne. I'll tell you what gets rid of your skin problems, going to a doctor. Like, come on, guys, come on. And honestly, after the amount that you spend on expensive skincare, you could have paid for a doctor's visit. And like, I'm being so for real. Out, I put oh, I like this one. Okay, I put out is victim mentality and in is villain mentality. Villain mentalities are in for 2025. And what I mean is don't like be doing crime and actually being like a bad person or like an evil person. When I say villain mentality, I mean that villains take their hurdles and they are kind of like so intentional and determined to overcome that they go the extra mile to ensure that whatever happened that fucked them over will never happen again. And that is one thing that I love about a villain, a reality TV villain, or like someone in like Superman or whatever, is that they usually have this origin story, their villain origin story. And they are so much like that will never happen to me again because I'm going to take every step for that to not happen. And I love that about them. They take it too far. And so I don't want any of us to do that. Like at that point to where you actually become a bad person, but just the mentality of like, I know that I can get myself out of any situation and I know that I can have something bad that happened to me never happen again because I am so determined to move on and better myself and like better my life. You know what I mean? So when someone's making fun of you, when someone's talking about you in a group chat, when someone fucked you over, instead of being like, woe is me, everyone hates me, the world hates me, be like, that shit will never happen to me again because I learned from this lesson and I am moving on and I'm going to show them how fucking amazing I am and they're going to regret it. They're going to regret it because they're going to see that I'm soaring high. Like, I like that mentality. Out, I put slouching. I have been desperately working on my posture. It's not really showing when I sit, but I feel like walking, it's getting a lot better. You know that half of your confidence comes from the way you walk? And it's true. Like I've been practicing shoulders back walking and it just makes you feel better. Honestly, it looks better too. You may kind of feel silly, but trust me, no one looks sillier than someone bent over and looking like they're scared of themselves, the world, and everyone around them. N is water with cucumber. Guys, I've been obsessed with this. Like if you put cucumber slices in your cup, your Hydro Flask, your Stanley, whatever it is you drink, you are so much more hydrated. Like half of the time I drink water, sometimes I feel like it actually ends up making me more thirsty. Like, you know how chapstick, when you put it on, you end up needing more chapstick because it's drying you out. And sometimes I used to feel like, oh, when I drink water, I'm even more parched and I need more. You know what I mean? I'm putting cucumbers in my water lately because I heard that they were hydrating. And I actually feel like I need to drink a little bit less water because it's actually hydrating me and not just going in and out, you know? Out is wearing things once and in is restyling. I used to be I wore this time I posted in this, get rid of it. That was really immature. That was really immature. My frontal lobe hadn't developed, still hasn't, but yeah, it was really immature, and I think that you can literally restyle anything to where you're like, oh, that's cute. Like I never look on Instagram, see someone wearing something twice and think, oh my God, she wore that again. If anything, I'm like, she's so cool. And so I am going to start rewearing my things, especially because half of the time it's like 5 years later and I'm like, fuck, like I can wear it again and I don't have it anymore because I was being freaking superficial, you know? I also put out is giving up and is regrouping. I think that it's fine to give up when you know it's not working for you. Like, I knew I wasn't that good at basketball. I knew I could never do volleyball. I knew I wasn't a good dancer. Like, it's okay to give up on things that you aren't good, but it is important to regroup and not just give up and do absolutely nothing, but regrouping and being like, okay, this didn't work. How can we reframe this? What can we do better? What am I good at? Like, regroup with yourself and think, where do I go from here? Not, no, I'm done. You know what I mean? Well, those are some ins and outs for 2025. It is always, always, always so good talking to you guys. And I will try to send in some ins and outs that you guys also have for 2025. And remember that January is a free trial, so you are free to make mistakes. If you're going to do anything uncomfortable, if you're going to make any mistakes, do it now. Get it over with, because trust me, within 6 months, you're not even going to remember it. And be sure to follow the podcast on Instagram at Tease Pod, at Tease Podcast, on everything else. Is TikTok actually going away, or is that like a rumor? I never believe it because people say it all the time. So I guess we'll see. And be sure to rate and review on Spotify and Apple. Subscribe on YouTube. Write in your questions, stories, and advice. And I will see y'all next Tease Tuesday. I love you guys.